Welcome to this training. In this training, we're going to go through some site reviews. So we're going to dive right into it. I just wanted to cover 4 quick points. The first one is something called the first glance rule. As we walk through the websites I'm going to review today, I want you to follow this rule, and we do this with all of our websites. In other words, where does your eye go when you first look at a website? And sometimes what you have to do, if you're so busy developing your own website or you've looked at it over and over and over, is just take some time away from it or ask others. Say, hey, when you first look at this website, what's the first thing your eye goes to? Very important, because that's going to show you where people go. The other thing I wanted to actually point out is something called the 5-second rule. How long are you on the website? In other words, do you want to stay on this website for more than 5 seconds? And really, we could even call it the 3-second rule. Most people make a decision whether or not they want to stay on your website within the first few seconds. And the keys to that is it's got to be simple. In other words, when they come to your site, you've got to know what problem you're solving and express that and communicate that to them very quickly, that here's the number one reason why you're at the site. Have a very strong call to action on why you're at my site, what's going on the site. So we're going to look at that as we go through these sites as well. And the other thing is we want to focus on are we solving a problem? In other words, are we actually effectively solving a problem in our marketplace? And are we making sure we're addressing that when people come to our website? The other thing I want to talk about is images. And as you go through some of these, you'll see some of the websites. People click on images, but images being clickable is important potentially, but also making sure they're positioned correctly on your website. You've got to make sure that they're positioned on your website. The other thing I wanted to actually throw in here is also understand that in English-speaking countries, people read from the left to the right. So if your website first glance rule or where your eye is drawn is more to the right, and then you have to work your way back left, it's very uncomfortable to an English-speaking eye to actually come back to the left on the screen if we're looking at a screen. So we want to make sure that when we're first bringing somebody to our site that they are focused on the left-hand side of the page, work their way right to our main call to action. And that would be the 6th thing I want to talk about and make sure we're looking at as we go through these websites is what is the call to action. And a part of that is as well, keep it simple. In other words, when people come here, it's got to be very clear, what am I to do on your website? Don't make me think too much, because if I have to think, I'm going to leave. And when we go through this too, by the way, there's websites, even like jeffusser.com, where when you come there, the main call to action may not be right on that website on the front page, but that may not be, and it actually isn't, where I drive traffic. We drive it to other pages. So as I look at your website, some of the things that we're going to be talking about may apply to the site that we're on, or it might apply to a site where you actually drive traffic. But even with jeffusser.com, I use something called, and I'll write this out, pop-up domination, where I am, again, focused on capturing a lead, building a list, always building a list, always building a list. That's so key to what we do, is because most people, when they come to your website, they won't stay there long. They'll be gone. You'll never see them again. If you focus on building a list, delivering value, you can then keep in contact with that client over and over and over via email, via Facebook, via texting, depending on what information you gather from people, direct mail, whatever it is. You could do things to keep in contact with those people. So that's a quick tidbit on that. I didn't want to spend a lot of time talking about this. I wanted to actually get into it. So I'm going to keep this kind of on this, well, I'll tell you what I'll do is I will shrink this and enlarge it as we use it. But, okay, first glance rule. Facebook.com, it's a website you know. Where does your eye go? A lot of you, it's right here. I've actually never watched this video. I'm not going to right now. Most people know about Facebook, but what I want you to get here is they understand that the sign-up form where they want your main call to action, what they want you to do is sign up for an account. You're either going to log in up here or you're going to sign up for an account. So with Facebook, it's a very simple page. I want you to point out too the green button, sign up. The words on the button are very important. But the main call to action, your eye might come to right here. I'm not going to watch it now, and then I'm sure it's talking about doing something right here, signing up to be a part of Facebook. So this is just a quick example of a site that is set up very correctly on a main call to action. Sign up, it says it's free and always will be. So that's Facebook as an example. So let's dive into, and actually before I do that, let's go ahead and look at a couple other things. 5-second rule, I mean, if you're coming to Facebook, this is a little different. You probably know what Facebook is. You're either going to sign in or you're going to get an account. Are we solving a problem? The images are clickable. It's actually a video. You can watch it. Keeping it simple. It's a very simple page. Call to action. There's a call to action right here. Sign up. It actually tells you, hey, fill out the form. Sign up right now. And yes, Facebook is building a list, a massive list. All right, so let's go to our first site that we're going to review today. This is a site called the FerrariKid.org, Giving Sick Kids the Ride of a Lifetime. Great organization, great purpose, great vision, great man behind this website. So, but let's take a look at the site. One of the first things I see when I come here is I see this big home thing right here, which if I click on it, I think I am on the home. I am on the home. I wanted to test that. Probably not much need to be there. My eye is immediately actually drawn to the pictures right here is where my eyes go. I might see this, but then I'm immediately drawn here. So one of the first things with this website is if we were to follow the first glance rule is, okay, where does your eye go, and is that where you want it to go? So I'm not sure the purpose of this site. I would imagine is to get people interested, and really it sounds like, learn about the story and help children is ultimately what it's about. So maybe on this page, the home site, having a specific call to action about here's where you can help a kid, and you have it here when I'm looking at this site. The one thing I would change in this site is these images here. You'll see that most people will go to click on images, especially in this type of setup. They'll think that this is a clickable image. So simply take this image, make it the same link as your story down here, help a kid. And you could also test actually bumping the words above the picture, because people will, you can either bump it there or bump it right to the right, because normally what will happen is your eye will hit here and you go this way. You don't normally go here and here, you're more going this way. So when I first looked at this site, following the first glance rule, I looked at this, 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 and then I came back around and saw something there. So with this one, the first glance rule, it's not horrible, it's actually pretty good, and congratulations on having this site up. And actually I know you've got a lot of different people that have given to what to this purpose and this cause. A couple things I would do is make sure the images are clickable. The story, help a kid, what you could potentially have here would be similar to what we looked at on Facebook even. You could maybe have people, you come to this page and have a video where you're actually telling the story, you're showing kids right from the start, and you're actually getting a way to get information. So let's come over here and actually look at contact. So contact us. So here is a video. I'm not going to watch the video right now, but there's a contact us with a phone number and address here. But again, you're making me jump through a bunch of hoops to actually get to you. What you could maybe have is just a short video and a opt-in form over here that says, hey, fill in the form to find out more information about how to help kids, or how the Ferrari Kid can help your child or helps a child that you know, or something like that. And I would imagine if I click here, let's go ahead, there's a donation link right here that we could go ahead and donate as well. So depending what your main call to action is here, I like that you're telling the story. You could tell the story in a video and also have it here potentially. Maybe this part would be below the fold, but this logo, again, is really big. And I know it's not just about the Ferrari. This is about the kids and giving them a ride of a lifetime. So let's go see about our rules here. 5-second rule. This did actually engage me. I love kids, so I got engaged quickly, and I wanted to actually click on the pictures right here actually right away. I would have went right to help a kid to start. I think a lot of the reason people will come here is to help a kid, not necessarily to hear somebody's story. So what you could do is incorporate the story into how you're helping kids and the story. I hope that makes sense. So in other words, with this site, don't have it be all different. You could combine and make one message answer basically all these questions. And you could have these links, if you wanted to have them, further down the page, and you would have a video that would talk more about what the mission's about up here. Let me see if I can pull this up again. Are we solving a problem? Yes, we're helping kids. Images clickable. These aren't right now. I would make them clickable. If that's all you did, you would see a better click-through rate on this site. Left to right, my eye again went from picture to picture to picture. It would be good maybe test having the words beside the image or on top of the image. And I'm not saying it doesn't work down below. I would just test. I'm always testing. That's one thing about site reviews as we go through this is I test the heck out of websites. We use a service called GetClicky that shows me how people navigate. Like on JeffUsner, for example, jeffusner.com, I will go in and I'll analyze the stats about where people enter my website, what page they go to next, what are they doing, and that will tell you a lot. So in other words, everything we're going to do here you can test. We also use a service now called ClickTail, where it'll actually screen capture, and let me give you that domain right here. ClickTail.com actually captures somebody on your website. You get to watch them go. Actually, they're literally, you would watch them like I'm doing right here. Like you would watch their mouse go here, here, and here. And here's a little trick too. Where people's mouse goes, the pointer, that's where their eye goes. And if you want to test me on this theory, just go to a website right now and see where your pointer goes, see where your mouse goes. It will go to where your eye goes. So it's an awesome thing because this helps us to understand where people's eyes go on our website. So I recommend using ClickTail for that. There's actually, I think even a free version that will record screen captures of people on your site to probably get you enough data. Also a service called getclicky.com that we use on websites as well. You could use Google Analytics as well. I just don't like using a lot of Google stuff, but that's me personally. So that's key to everything we're going through in these sites. So so with this site, I would focus too on building a list because if people come here to donate and maybe they won't donate right away or they wanted to check you out a little bit more, it'd be nice to have a function where they could find out more about what you're at by opting in, giving their name and email. Okay, that's a quick review of this site. I like the site. Make a few of those changes that we just spoke about. I think you'll get higher performance on the site. All right, let's go to the next site. Okay, this one is called mymuscleclub.com. And what we're looking at is helping you properly achieve your health and fitness goals. I like this site. This is a great looking site. Congratulations on getting it up. I like this. You've got the Facebook fan club over here. I like the colors. It's very similar to an offer called Force Factor, which I know very well, where it uses the same type of colors, the black and the red. And I'm not sure the exact demographic watching this. I imagine it's a lot of males, but it might also be females as well. I would imagine mainly males, though. Let's go look at his fans. Looks like we've got females and males, so a good different mix of people on this site. Okay, first thing on this site, if we were to do, all right, the first glance rule and the 5-second rule. I see this. I see My Muscle Club up front. Potentially this, helping you properly achieve your health and fitness goals. This is a little hard for me to read. It's just a little smaller and it's just a little difficult. This I don't see at all. Workouts, nutrition, oh, that's actually the navigation bar. To me, this really blends in, and maybe that's how you want it. You don't want people to see the navigation bar. But if you do, I would change the color of this to maybe this white color again. And that's something I want to talk about really quickly is on your website, and I do this with our Filipino workers that we work with as well. Whenever we develop a website, and you can go to Google and just type in color wheel, but you always want to make sure your main call to action is the opposite color. So the opposite of black is white. So white stands out very well on this. Red also with black goes actually pretty well. So, but you always want to make sure on your website, you want to look, so if your website, let's say you've got a Facebook website or a blue website, the opposite of that could be this yellow-orange type color. If you've got a purple website like, let's say, Monster.com or HotJobs.com are two purple sites that come to mind, the opposite color is gold. So on those types of websites, if the main theme of your site is red, you want your main call to action to be green. In other words, the human eye, the color that stands out the most on a website that's dominantly, let's say, red would be green. If there was green on the page, it would go to green. If the website was predominantly purple, it would go to this type of light green. If it was more of a dark blue, it would go to this shade color. So look at building your websites with opposite colors. So that's just a quick tip on this one. Looking over here again, so the navigation, I'm not sure if you want people on that. If you do, you might want to make that, you could even make it that red. Now that I'm hovering over it, I can read that very well. So instead of just having it turn red right when I'm here, have it be red to start, because then I would actually see it's a navigation bar. All right, and then over, okay, So that's great. I like that we've got some, again, I can't really see this over here. If you want to make this red, you might get more Facebook following as well on this. But I like you've got a video here. You know, it's a good setup for a site. Now, I don't know if you drive traffic right to this page, but I would make sure, to me, this is very hard to read this over here. Again, the subscribe button, it blends in. It's hard for me to read. If that was red, I would see it. It would pop a lot faster to me, and maybe it might say, let's see, this is start learning how to properly achieve your health and fitness goals in the fastest and most effective way possible. Just enter your email address below and click subscribe. So what I would try to do is, those are a lot of words for me to read. So maybe you just you know, find out what your primary benefit of this is. Might be you know, get ripped faster, or you know, lose weight, gain muscle mass, whatever the main benefits are that people are coming to this site for. I would keep it very short and to the point. So, and you could even use an image over here that people could look at, and it would draw my eye even further over here. So those are a couple pointers on this one. You do have some images here, but it kind of breaks apart here. Again, this type of color on the black is hard for my eye to actually pick up. I actually didn't even see the all access pass, and that even makes it a little harder to read. So maybe use just one picture here of a guy that's pretty ripped and talk about, and again, I don't know the main, I mean, the people are coming here to work out, find out about nutrition. I'm sure getting ripped is a pretty big thing. So I know I used to bodybuild, and getting ripped was the term we always use, you know. So maybe get ripped faster, or shed those last pounds, or whatever it might be. Whatever the main problem is you're solving, use less words here and have it be very clear and to the point. Again, have the color pop out a little bit more here, because right now this form is really drowning into the site, because really I want to go to your video and watch the video. And I'm not sure what this is. Maybe that's my browser, but you need to remove this red bar thing here as well. So that's a couple pointers on this one. I do like, though, just to point something out, there's something we call as well, which I didn't have on here, which is your main call to action needs to be above the fold. And all above the fold means is I don't have to pull down to see this website. It's right here. The main call to action is right here. So you did a great job keeping this above the fold. And so make this shorter, cleaner, crisper. Make this button stand out more. And then this note, we respect your privacy. You could shrink the font on this as well. People don't, it matters, but if you shrunk this down a little bit smaller so it wouldn't pop out as much, that would be even better. And then the other thing I would say on this site is where it says subscribe, use a different word like get my free tips or get my free videos. It looks like you're doing a lot of video work on this website. So you could you need to come up with like what's the #1 problem you're solving on this site. It goes back to what I was just talking about back here on number 3, which really this is #1. Are we solving a problem? What is the problem you're solving? And that's what this has to be right here. It's got to be the main reason people are coming to your site. Figure out what that is. And it's probably get ripped, lose weight, gain muscle mass, whatever it is, get big, whatever the reason is. Put that right here and then create a free video or a free download or something that answers how to do that. Or maybe it's a series of videos. Maybe it's 5 videos. You're doing lots of videos. It might be real easy for you to do. And actually, it looks like now we do have an opt-in form here. As I'm pulling down through here, the top 20 biggest muscle building mistakes. Exercises, techniques explained. Free muscle building gifts. So there's something you could do too in, this is built, I believe, on WordPress. You can make a post what's called sticky. In other words, it'll stay to the top of your website. So you might want to pop and make this post sticky so it stays up, or just do this type of thing right here. This is beautiful. Do this type of thing right over here. Just make it short, sweet, with a picture of whatever they're going to get. Free muscle building gifts. Do a little visual. You would also add what I talked about, this pop-up domination. And how do you get that? You just go to, pop-up. I don't think I spelled that right. Sorry, popupdomination.com. And if you added that to your site, if that popped up here, you would get more opt-ins. And all you do on that, go to jeffwestern.com and you can see I use pop-up domination. You just have a it's your lead magnet. It's what's drawing people in to give your name and email. So that's a quick review on that site. Good site, and actually I'm interested in this site, so I'll be taking a look at your site as well. All right, next site is called Home First Party Business. That's hard to say. Home First Party Business. Good looking site. We've got a picture here. We've got so the picture is on, I don't know where your eye goes first. This headline, sticks out to me. We've got a visual here. If possible, in this visual, I would try to get, this looks like a 70s type picture. It just seems faded. If you have a more clear, crisp picture that pops out better, I think it would do much better. To me, it's really hard to see this. It looks like the image that's behind it is more crisp. I hope that makes sense. But this is earn a reliable, recession-proof income. Sell the #1 purses on the market. This button, looks pretty good. I would probably position it over here. And I don't know if we do this in all of our pages, but I would position this more right here. And if you took this pen and had it point to the check availability, because right now my eye kind of comes over here, it hits this and comes down. If this pen was positioned up further and this button was over here, boom, it would point right down. The other thing I would do is with this testimonial, it's way too long for me to read. I wouldn't want to read this, and most people wouldn't. So try to shorten this up. Maybe just use, I'm not going to read the whole thing, use about this much, one paragraph that's right here, and below it's this check availability, and the pen is pointing down. I'm going to click on this, see what happens, and it's putting me into here. So this is great. The setup, again, good headline. You've got some benefits. Again, your pen here, if you made that stand out a little bit more, and I wouldn't have it leaning down, I would have this maybe leaning over. It would point more here. And if you could find a color that popped, maybe more gold or orange, I'm not sure on the check availability. This goes for the last page too. It would pop more. But the other thing I wanted you to get to, like, here's what you're doing. You're making me click here, and then the next page, I'm over here. So try to keep the buttons, I don't want to have to move my mouse. So if the check availability on this last page was right here, then I came to this page and it's right here, it'd be a higher opt-in percentage probably on this. So this is a good looking site. It's all above the fold, the 5-second rule, first glance rule. I mean, it's looking really good. So I don't know about this picture. I might want to see these faces. Well, actually I would. If you could put the faces of these people up on top here, put the computer below, I think it would do better too, because I relate more to these people than I do to this. This actually kind of hurts my eyes to look at. All right, so that's the Home First Party Business. Great job on putting this together. If you drive traffic this will work now. Make this a little easier to read and pop out a little bit more and position it over here. Use a better picture here, but it's looking good. Great action on everything you've been learning, so congratulations on that. All right, let's move to the next one. Zummer Home. I like the play on words on that. Introducing the Mini Zummer, the getaway you can walk to. Cool. So it looks like it's just a house outside your house. So one of the first things on this site, where does your eye go? Well, for me, it's going to the images. I'm looking at what's going on. I'm trying to figure out what this is about. This right here is very hard to read. I didn't actually see that. I spent a little time on this site a little earlier and I didn't even see it. Is this your navigation? Because I was looking at where I could look. So, and here's an example of the one unit that they have. So that's really cool that you had that. What I would do is, if all you did it was just make this pop a little bit more, if these were just solid, maybe it's just solid green or something, that would pop more. It's also very hard for me to see this phone number. That would be the second thing. But I think you're selling a product, I think I saw the price was 18 grand or something like that. Full plans starting at 1,000. Maybe what you should do is create some type of, like, why are people buying your product? Well, maybe it's just to add on a room without having to spend as much money. Plus, it looks like there's some neat environmental benefits to it, complete green structure plans. I would find out what's the #1 reason people would want to buy this, and then create some type of report that I can download, or that I can, even using it in your, see, like this stuff, like testimonials is great, but I can't read that. It's too small. We want to increase the font size on that as well. But it would be great to have a strong call to action right in this area. And maybe it's just get more information, and all they're doing is clicking through to the next page where you're giving them a little bit more information, like what is a mini zoomer? Like that's the first question on my hand, and why? How would this even work? So you might get into some of that. I mean, this looks pretty cool, and you've got browse house plans, and people love to browse homes as well. So make it stand out more. Maybe download a report, give them a report to download, like we said, and maybe they just provide information, or maybe it's just you give them, they have to enter their email address. Or on this type of site, it looks like it'd be great to generate a phone call. You could test having an opt-in page on this side of the page. In other words, where they give their name and information for more, or their name and email for more information, or to get, maybe you give away 10 free plans or something like that. Get our top, we'll give you our top selling plan for free. Or maybe that's not how it works. I guess you sell plans, so you probably wouldn't want to do that. But maybe there's something you can give them, example plans, or just part of it, or something. So if I was coming to, again, you have to address the problem of, if I'm coming to this site, why am I coming to this site, number one, and what do I want to learn? What's the number one thing I want to learn? And then try to get me to do that. That's what you want to do. Make your colors. Go back to the Google color wheel. Again, for me, this is I like the visuals and everything. This looks really cool to me. But it's very hard to see this browsing menu here. I didn't even see this actually till now. Those are very hard to see. If you want people, if anything, too, you could make these images clickable. It looks like I can filter through them. But if you're going to use this many images, I would probably use, if you cut off maybe a third of this and you just had this area rotating, and this was more of a call to action with an arrow, and if I clicked on it, then it took me to more about the image. That would be another tip. So maybe your call to action is, hey, this looks interesting. Click here for more information. I click. In this area, you just have more of an arrow, or get more information. If I click here, then it takes me to another site where you're answering the next question for me, or you're offering something that I can get. So I wouldn't have the phone number necessarily right there. It doesn't hurt to have a phone number. And if I did have it on this page, I would probably put it right up here in the upper right-hand corner. Customer service is standing by. Need help? ? Get your questions answered with this phone number. Don't necessarily use the word order. Just if you're trying to generate a phone call, my main thing with this is get the people's questions answered. And I wouldn't imagine you're just selling this on the first call, but I don't know 100% if it's $18,000. But let's look at this real quick. So you do have one that's only $1,000, but still that's a bit of an investment to sell. And maybe, let me look. Maybe that's not the cost of your plan. I don't even know, actually. Is that the cost to build it, or is that the cost of the plan? I don't know. Or the plans, I don't know. Again, that would be something to make it more clear to me. I like this concept, though. It's really neat. And seems like there would be a huge market for this this type of website. So anyway, that's our reviews for this site, for this week's reviews, this month's reviews. I'm going to go into some more sites I have lined up here, and you'll get access to that probably next month in Profit Hub. Thank you again for going through these site reviews. Again, take what we spoke about here, look at how you can apply it to your website, check out some of these sites that I've spoken about, follow the rules that we talked about here. Make it very clear on the problem you're solving, what's the call to action on the page, and keep it simple with everything that you're doing. But some great sites we reviewed today. Thank you guys for submitting your sites, and I'll see you on the next video.